So today we're going to be talking about the World Series of Hackzone. Warzone. Sorry, I had something in my throat. We're going to be taking a look at some of the top 10 teams and see how many of those guys have been known for cheating, caught cheating, played with cheaters, banned for cheating, and everything in between. So let's crack on with the video. So guys, we've got the overall leaderboards from the World Series of Warzone. For those who don't know, Team Aydan actually won in first place. What we're going to do, we're going to go through each team, and if there's somebody in there who's been called out for being sus or been caught cheating, then we're going to take a look at some of the reasons why they were called out. First of all, Team Aydan. Well, let's go and take a look at a clip of Aydan now. We've seen some of the most craziest call-outs from Aydan, blatant wall hacks in use, as well as some moments that could be deemed as aimbot. This is one of the moments now that we're going to take a look at.
Damage wipe, that's what he's seen like that.
All that for that. Can you res me? Damn.
So that was the moment there of Aydan blatantly turning and locking onto someone in the distance. People were claiming it to be wall hacks. People were claiming it to be aimbot. All we can say for sure is that that was sus as hell. Now, honestly, I don't even know who Hate Adrian is, and I've never seen anything really sus about Rated. Once or twice, maybe a possible wall hack moment, but nothing that's led me to call Rated out for any means. So let's move on to Team 2. Almond, Noobs and Tommy. I honestly have never really had anything to say other than towards Noobs, but that was only because I put a video out saying that I didn't think he was cheating, and he tried to make out like I'd accused him of cheating. So there was a little back and forth back in the day, but nothing that screamed suspicion from any of those three players in second place. Now in third place, we've got Huskerrs, Unrational and Scummn. So where do we start here? Let's talk about Scummn for a minute. Scummn recently got kicked off the team by Huskerrs and Unrational because he'd been caught playing with hackers in ranked play. So this guy was openly playing with cheaters to get himself higher ranked. And now all of a sudden, when it comes to the World Series of Warzone, they brought the team back together and they were happy to play with him. So that makes Huskerrs and Unrational just as bad as Scummn for playing with Scummn when he plays with cheaters, right? We don't need to show any footage of that. Everybody knows that's just happened recently. But let's talk about Huskerrs for a moment. Let's go and take a look at some sus clips of him. So here's one of the moments from Huskerrs back in Caldera where he was going to aim at an enemy down the airfield and he ends up aiming at the sky out of nowhere. And I even explained in that video that it looked like somehow there was frames cut, but there just wasn't. This literally happened in his gameplay and he ended up going over and aiming at the sky. Bang. And it was so crazy to see at the time. But this isn't the most recent thing that we've seen from Huskerrs either, and it wasn't the first thing we'd seen of Huskerrs having dodgy aim. Now in this video I actually explain about how Huskerrs switches weapons quite fast, and he ends up sort of hip firing with a sniper and getting a hit marker, but there's like a lock on in the moment as well, so watch this. There was a jitter as it locked onto the enemy. I do go back in a second and slow it down in this clip, but this is a moment of Huskerrs having an aimbot malfunction. And it's very obvious when you watch it in slow motion, which is exactly what we did in the video. But this isn't the first time either that we'd seen Huskerrs with dodgy behaviour in his gameplay. And you have to remember there's no sort of aim assist because he's on keyboard and mouse. There's the glitch and there's the shot. So I was thinking maybe this was some sort of aimbot snap, or maybe his trigger bot got activated. For those who didn't know what a trigger bot was at the time, I did explain in that video. I may actually link all of these videos in the description below as well. And as I said, we've now got footage of him in Verdansk with a dodgy situation with his aim. We've got a clip of him in Caldera with a dodgy situation with his aim, where it's locking onto or snapping onto another enemy or a different location. Now let's go and take a look at something more recent in Al Mazrah. So in this clip, we actually see Huskerrs have an aimbot malfunction again, but this is in Al Mazrah. So we've now got Verdansk, Caldera and Al Mazrah.
Into the window right here. Literally a bullet.
I hit one with a nade. Yeah, one flashy bottom. Running up, got him.
And just like that, it was pretty similar to what we saw in Caldera and pretty similar to what we saw happen in Verdansk. So usually in these situations, I would say, listen, a pattern's occurring, and there you have it. But guess what? He was still invited to play in the World Series of Warzone. 3 different maps across 2 different Call of Duty Warzone games, and he's had the same thing happen. You're going to tell me that's some sort of in-game bug or malfunction happening to the same guy 3 times across 3 different maps? I beg to differ. Now, I haven't really had time to look into Hisoka too much. There's been 1 or 2 moments that I thought were very suspicious. I genuinely believe this guy's turned up out of nowhere and there is something definitely going on. Definitely reverse boosting. But if you have a look who's on his team more than anything, this is the priority of Team 4. Shifty TV is on Hisoka's team. Shifty TV got called in by Jake Lucky to go and do a lie detector test and play live in the NRG headquarters. And that's exactly what happened. But even whilst all this drama was going on, I decided to really dig deep on this, because not only was Shifty having very suspicious gameplay with his aim, literally locking onto enemies, he was getting called out by a Call of Duty Warzone pro, Blast. Right? And Blast was calling him out, saying it's blatant, doing comparisons to a rage hacker, and they literally had side-by-side footage of a rage hacker and Shifty TV's gameplay, and it looked identical. So I decided I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to go and compare it to Biffle's aim, and that's exactly what we did here in this clip. Those who don't remember, this is the clip that we put out where we compared Shifty's aim to Diaz Biffle's. We'll play it through for you now. This is actually a video on my Twitter if you want to go and check it out. So in that clip, you can see that both of those aims are locking onto, right? They're literally locking onto enemies in the distance who are both gliding in, and they have identical situations where their aim is literally locked onto an enemy. When the enemy goes behind the tree on this side, it sort of breaks for a split second, then locks back on. And on this side over here on the right, when the enemy goes behind like either a lamppost or a tree, I can't remember which it is, the aim breaks for a split second and then locks back on. If you've got perfect tracking like that, then no sort of boundary, no sort of item in the way is going to stop you perfectly tracking unless you are locked onto that enemy, because aimbot can break in them situations. And this was the moment here. This whole situation of me comparing those 2 gameplays was the moment that people took the foot off the gas with Shifty and let it slide. And guess what? Even though he's a dirty little cheater, he's still invited to play in the World Series of Warzone, and he's ranking in the top 10. So we've covered number 4, which had Hisoka and Shifty in. Now, Shifty is always going to have that label on his head as a cheater. There are people out there who are in this list here who believe Shifty's a cheater. And what's really annoying, not only Activision inviting these guys out who are dirty little cheaters, or inviting them into the tournament at least, it's the fact that others who think they cheat are willing to play against them or with them. It makes you wonder what those guys are up to as well, surely. Let's move on to Team 5. We've got Team IQ. Now, this is all related to Omit. Omit IQ, Omit Rider. I don't know who Erase is, but the chances are he's probably a part of Omit. If not, I'm sure he will be at some point. But IQ has been called out for cheating in Warzone 1, Warzone 2, and I believe that the person who's called him out is the Tonezilla. I've covered it a little bit, but we're going to go and take a look now at one of the Tonezilla's videos on IQ. So if you haven't already, go and subscribe to Tonezilla over on YouTube. This is the video that he put out. We are paying attention here to IQ's aim. Look like some sort of aimbot malfunction there.
See that guy right there?
And he's literally pointing out the enemy of where the aim snaps to, look.
And pulls towards the guy that just jumped down.
But that's just one of many moments. Let's skip forward in this video and take a look further. What else have we got going on? Feel like I'm missing something here.
See this guy dropping back in? His aimbot glitches again and attempts to lock onto that guy instead of just letting off the trigger. You'll see it snap to the left just above the building.
But this is like one of a few videos that Tonezilla's got on IQ. IQ has got some blatant aimbot moments. I'm trying to find the most apparent one for you. But this right here has got so many examples in. I'll tell you what I will do. I will link this video in the description below for you guys to go and see. But again, not only is IQ being invited to play World Series of Warzone, he's actually team captain. Let that sink in. So we are actually going to skip Team 6 because I don't know who Locksteel, De Niro or Juju are. Okay, let's move on to team number 7. Team Joewo. What are the chances that Earthworm Joewo has been invited as a captain and he's got Breadman on his team? Don't know who Limax is, but Joewo and Breadman. Let's go and take a look at something related to Joewo. Now this video was put out by AOI. He used to do videos that were very well put together with very good examples of people cheating in them. This one was a fine example of Joewo having aimbot. Watch this. Pay attention to the aim in this clip now.
So this clip has now been slowed down to 5% so you can see all the frames and just watch the pixel perfectness of this. It stops and moves exactly with the player on his head. That looks like it should have hit.
So, I mean, that is what we call pixel perfect tracking. He literally locked onto the enemy's head and tracked him for, I think it was about 15 frames, right? Maybe more. But you don't get that kind of accuracy in the game. With all of the basically randomized mechanics within this game, that enemy could have moved in any direction. What are the chances? Honestly, if you were to try and figure out what the odds were of that enemy peeking at that moment for Joewo's aim and crosshair to go directly onto his head and then track him perfectly for 15 frames, you probably got more chance of winning the lottery 100,000 times. Let that sink in. And yet Joewo was given a captain's spot. But let's move on. We don't really need to cover Breadman. Breadman, again, is up to no good, but he's part of Team Joewo, isn't he? You know, we've seen it all before. Let's have a look at Team Mayapo. No one in that team that I recognise. There's no one in Team Vombot that I recognise either. But we're going to go to team number 10 and take a look at that first name there, Biffle. We've already touched on Biffle in this, and we're going to go back to that same clip right now. Do you know what? Scratch that clip comparing him to Shifty. We've got so many more better clips of Diaz Biffle blatantly cheating. Remember the clip of Joewo you've just seen where he's perfectly tracking an enemy? Well, we've actually got a clip of Diaz Biffle perfectly tracking an enemy, but this has got aim prediction on. And if you don't know what aim prediction is, you haven't been following this channel for a very long time. Let's take a look at this clip now. You ready? Look at this. Perfectly tracking. And that's with aim prediction on. And that actually tracked for about 10 frames at the time. Because he's quite close to the enemy, it tracks in front. If you don't know what aim prediction is, go and take a look. Have a little look online and you will see exactly what it can do. And while we're talking about aimbot, take a look at this clip of Biffle now.
Kinda sucks.
Yeah, that's just one of many where his aim malfunctions. And that doesn't happen with normal aim assist. That only happens if you're running a third-party program to assist you with your aim. If you think they were bad, wait till you see these. These are all from Warzone 1. Take a look at this now. Yeah? In case you didn't see it. Just muted that music. It is quite loud. But watch it malfunction now. Bink, bink, bink. That's not natural behaviour now, is it? What about this one where he jumps on the back of a moving motorbike and lasers someone like that? Did you see that? He sat on the back of a moving motorbike and literally pinpoint accurately lasered somebody in the sky. And he does exactly the same here, jumps on the back of a motorbike. Now this is the one we compared to Shifty earlier. Perfectly tracks an enemy. How do you do these things unless you've got a third-party program running? They're just not possible, are they? So yet again, another example of Diaz Biffle using aimbot. And well, we all remember the moment that Diaz Biffle was able to run outside and kill an enemy that he didn't know was there. Or shot an enemy that wasn't there, should I say. Yeah? Even though there's somebody showing up here on the minimap, there was literally zero enemy there and he got hit markers. So at that point, everybody was calling him out for silent aim. And all these large streamers like Mutex and other people come out of the woodworks to say, yo, bro, he's just good, get good, bro. 8 hours a day, bro. And that was pretty much it. There was no solid proof, no real truth behind anything anyone defended him had to say. And yet Diaz Biffle gets invited to the World Series of Warzone and finishes in the top 10 teams. And believe me when I say this, we've only covered the top 10 teams. If we were to have truly gone into detail about everybody who entered, how many hackers do you think were in there? There are so many people in that top 10 there who have had multiple videos made about them showing very clear proof that something isn't right in their gameplay. Whether you guys believe it's cheating or a malfunction in the game, something ain't right, and yet they still continue to receive invites from Activision. And you believe Activision aren't aware of all this going on? Ha! Let me know what you guys think about the World Series of Warzone. It is clearly a hack fest. There are some legitimate players in there, as far as I'm aware, but majority of players who get involved or have at least some teammates in there who are sus as hell. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you did enjoy today's video, smash that thumbs up if you're new to the channel, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our future uploads. And one last thing before we go. Do you ever feel like life is just too overwhelming? That your anxiety is holding you back from being your best self? Introducing Supreme CBD, the all-natural CBD solution to help you find your balance. With Supreme CBD, you can experience the benefits of CBD without the psychoactive effects of THC. Supreme CBD's formula is designed to help you reduce stress and anxiety, improve focus, and promote overall wellness. And the best part, Supreme CBD is made with only the highest quality organic ingredients, so you can feel confident in what you're putting into your body. It's time to take control of your life and find your balance with Supreme CBD. You can order now and experience the difference for yourself. And don't forget to use code BBB40 at checkout for 40% off.